because of the 95% of us that there is to know, that we don't know, that is in the subconscious, and we don't have direct access to it, we have to do a lot of work. And the beast system is doing all that it can to, A, control the minds of people, but also to keep you so fucking distracted outside of yourself. Because they don't want you tapping into what's inside of you, where you will know the universe and God, where you will find and develop self-mastery, where you will find and develop the things within you that help you to evolve as a being, as a spirit, as a soul, whatever it is that's truly evolving. The things that will help you grow, those are all inside. There's some things outside, but most of the important stuff, the real important stuff, because everything in this world is temporary, clearly. So the important stuff would reside within. The world seeks to distract us from that on purpose. Why? Ties into the evil force that's purposefully here to distract us. The forces upon this earth are doing everything that they can on this level of it to prevent us from doing the inward journey, learning the inward journey, doing the inner work, knowing thyself, and tapping into the aspects of us that are the spark of divinity. There are tidbits in the Bible where you hear, or in other spiritual texts, where these gods have feared man rising to their level or beyond. Humans are capable of things they're not even fucking aware of. Most humans aren't aware of it. But the evidence of the fact that we're aware of some shit that we don't even know about is evidenced by the fact that the government and the CIA and these clandestine groups study remote viewing and have had some success with it. So we're capable of things that they don't want us to be aware of. I think these are the things that are contained within our genetic code that we could potentially turn on if, we did the inward journey. Therefore, the world seeks to distract us so that we don't do the inward work, so that we can't turn any of this stuff on. Some of us are lucky, and in some cases it might be a curse, where pieces of their code might be turned on. So we have more abilities than other people. More this, more that. It's possible. There's various, I don't think 100% of the stories are true. I'd say maybe 10% of them are true. It's just a guess. Maybe I'm just being a cynic in that respect. But people have some really interesting abilities, and the things that we can do with the energy that's within us. See weird videos of people being able to do very bizarre things with their chi energy or ki energy. You see people getting into meditative states and trance states and being able to communicate with things that are out. We got weird abilities that, let me rephrase that, we've got abilities that most of us, and I'm not considering us, just most of the world, looks at these people as possibly fringy or out there or, it's of the devil or, it's a demon or whatever it is, rather than realizing, hey, this is aspect of the genetic code that's within most of us, or all of us probably, that for some reason, who knows, maybe this person is a motley mix and they're Irish and they're, a little Indian and somebody from Northern Africa, and they're just a motley mix. And, they're a beautiful person, but they've got all kinds of stuff in them. So they're not a more homogeneous, I guess? I'm not sure what the word is. Excuse me, there's my ignorance. But anyway, version of human. And through the genetic mixing of their foreparents and their foreparents and their grandparents and great-great-great and all that other stuff, somehow the veil is thin for that person. And now you've got a human that can do some interesting shit. And we can't make sense of how the hell that happens. We see a world of slavery for humans from the beginning. We see a world of control and slavery in various ways today. We see a world that is hell-bent on mind control, and just because it's revealing itself overtly now, much more overtly, doesn't mean this hasn't been going on for a very, very, very long time, that they've had the technology to actually do this stuff and produce a level of mind control that they had never otherwise been able to attain. So they're working for the dark side. They're working for this Lucifer, Satan, devil force, the demonic force, the Moloch worshipping, child sacrificing, all these people building the beast system to do what they're doing, working as the minions of this evil force here in the 3D, creating the matrix system, creating the beast system, distracting us, keeping us focused externally, keeping us focused on the titties, the pleasures of the flesh, the hot abs and buns, and all that. Think about it. A lot of it has to do with the animal side of us, though. It's the stuff that drives us from below the belt. We are really beginning to see some of the obviousness of this, and I think that because the world seeks to distract us the ways that it does, lends itself to the fact that it doesn't want us to go in. It doesn't want us to know thyself. It doesn't want us to do the inward journey. It doesn't want us to tap into any of the things that are within us that they clearly don't want us to tap into, or they wouldn't work so hard, so long, put so much manpower, acting, and flashing lights, and money, and resources into distracting us, into being focused on their system, on their beast system, on their matrix. And we say, hey, I'm here. This is my life. This is the world I live in. Yeah, look at it. You think you're going to change it? Unless we all do, it's not going to change. And it's not going to happen that we're all going to come together and do it. It's not. It's been almost 2 years. It's not going to happen. Therefore, For those who are capable, you should begin to realize, if you haven't already, that this should be your calling to drive you back to yourself, to begin to do that inner work where you will find God, you will know the universe. The inner work is where you begin the journey of becoming Christed, if you will. That process where the oil goes down the spine, goes back up, lights up the pineal gland, the oil going down the spine and back up. That's the anointing. That's the Christos process. That's where the narrow gates are. That's what they don't want you to find. That's why they're distracting you. That's why. Think about what I'm saying. Are there pieces that I'm missing? Probably. I would have to almost say absolutely. Don't know what they are. But when you think about this, and I'm sure there's a lot of history that I don't know. It takes a lot of work to consume all the goddamn information there is to consume and then actually know what's right history. But when you look at the Anunnaki stories and the way they made us, clearly we've got their code. Clearly they wanted to make us slaves. Clearly we have been enslaved since the beginning. Clearly they have kept systems upon this earth to keep us enslaved. It's been with us from the beginning. And then they've always made us, well, not always, but in recent memories, made us pay to live on the planet that we're born on. It's crazy. Think about it. So it's really, really, really important for human beings to understand, know thyself, to understand their 5%, 95% makeup, to understand all of the things that are contained within the 95% of them that they're largely not even aware of, that the potential for what they could potentially be resides within that subconscious, and that you will have to work to tap into what's in there, and that what you could become if you do that work could be something far more than you ever imagined, and you might actually tap into that divinity that's within you, that spark, if it's within you. Unless you're one of the soulless ones, then no, you're probably not, because I don't know how that works, but clones or something. And the idea is, and not everybody believes all this stuff, but pieces of it all probably are true. When Yaldabaoth in the Gnostic stories started doing all this creating and creating humans, the other aeons decided that they would thwart his efforts and breathe the divine breath of life into us. And that's kind of how our divine spark, our soul, the goodness in humans comes from. And the part of us that was made by this Yaldabaoth thing that might be more, evil, and it's working to, tap into that part of us. And the divine is within us all, or I don't know. There's parts of this that are a little spotty. I'm not quite sure of, but I just started thinking about this, man. This world really does seek to distract the hell out of us and keep us focused on it. And it's got a lot invested in us being focused on it. That should be abundantly clear to anybody that's been waking up for any period of time. The world seeks to keep us distracted with the flashing lights, shiny objects, scantily clad women, scantily clad men, sports, and all the other things, the trivialities of the world. Why? Oh, because it's the human condition and the human experience, and it's all so fun just to be human. But it's more than that. It's deeper than that. So much deeper than that you can start to see the pattern of how this whole thing is designed to distract the ever-loving shit out of all humans that aren't aware of the fact that the inward journey is where your path out of here resides. Your path to out is in. Know thyself and you'll know the universe and God. That kind of thing. And they're distracting people from knowing about that. And then they're doing all that they can to make it so that you don't care about that, so that you don't believe that, so that you don't know that's, true, or a theory that you should pursue because, this place is all rancid and toxic and all that other kind of shit. I'm telling you, it's some really deep shit. And another thing I think is, even though we have all this genetic code in us that could potentially be the code that they put in us to make it so that we could procreate, and that if we figured out this inward journey and did the work, the know thyself and all the aspects of us and whatever, energy work, breath work, the things, vibrations and oming and chanting and all the things that we can do, that could potentially create a frequency or a vibration that turns on some genetic code, some DNA, something inside of us that gives us abilities that these have not wanted us to know about or to have. And it seems like we get to a point, if you start looking back at history, where we start to get to a point where people have enough knowledge, consciousness reaches a level where we become aware enough that we're being controlled, we're being manipulated, and all of a sudden, bang, a reset. Mud floods, Tartaria, something else, an asteroid, a deluge, I don't know. They're just, in some way, they smack the collective consciousness with a hammer, and it gets brain damage and it forgets. And it's just a metaphor. But you start thinking about this and you've done a lot of research, this shit starts to make sense. I just wonder what it is I'm still missing. And unfortunately, we'll all have to find this stuff for ourselves. It really requires a lot of thinking, a lot of contemplating, a lot of, and when I say meditating, I don't mean om, but hey, that may be what it is for some people. But when I say meditating, in the mind on some of this stuff, some of it is ruminating on these things, not in a toxic way, to try to find answers. That's how and why I think humans were given the ability to think and process and critically think, was to find answers and solutions to problems that we face. Now, generally speaking, we can only find answers based on the amount of knowledge that we have in comparison to the problem that we face, generally. But every once in a while, people get, downloads. Some kind of spirit force gives you a little information, demons and devils do that, or whatever. Not devils, I don't know. Demons. And supposedly, like, the good, benevolent forces do, but, I don't have a whole lot of experience with that personally. If we could what? Convince humanity they got to do the inward journey, all of a sudden the world would be a different place. And if you just turn your back to the evil, well, the evil still exists. It's just going to re-strategize and figure it out. I understand the satanic doctrine associated to the whole bit of it. And, they don't want you to know. That's why they censor us. But they want you focused on all the stress in the world. They want you stuck in a state of fear. They want you stuck in a state of apathy and cognitive dissonance and all this mindfuckery they've been levying upon the world. They want you in as disoriented a position as you could be in your mind and perception of all of this stuff. Meanwhile, you're not doing any inner work. You're not doing any learning. You're not doing any growing, largely. And, they just keep you held back. That's the theme. Hold the human back, prevent them from growing, prevent them from tapping into what's in them, create the world to distract them externally with all the things that feed the fleshly desires, the 7 deadlies and all the stuff. They'll never know about the inward journey. They have no idea what's truly inside them. They have no idea what they're truly capable of. They have no idea what they're,